on about what lessons one still has to learn. There is no suffering, and you welcome the lessons you have to learn. You choose the next life that you would have to take, be it in abundance or be it in abject poverty. So now, if the subtle body of man, or if you could call it the soul of man, was suffering on the other side, then it would never choose adverse circumstances. It would never choose a body of illness. Some children are born ill or deformed. It would never choose to be born in poverty. It would always try and choose rich parents. Because there is no suffering on the other side, and only a process of evaluation, that it would choose the proper thing for its own progress, which is, of course, conditioned and patterned by the karma and the experiences one has gone through. Now, if people would understand this, they would grieve less. That there is no suffering on the other side. And any grief that a person feels, be sure to know it is because of possessive ideas, possessing a person as if it was an object. It is selfish to grieve. It is selfish to grieve because it is not in your hands. That which is in the hands of the divine plan, or that which is in the hands of the divine law, that what has to be, has to be. So if you think in that way, how can you grieve for the person that has passed over? Is it in your, if it was controllable by you, and you have made a mistake, then if you were the master of life and death, then grieve, yes. But if you have no control over it, why grieve? So, all the selfishnesses come in. All past memories come in of the pleasurable times. That, oh, I had such and such a time with John, or at such and such a time with Mary. Now those remembrances make you grieve. Or if your son, young man, passes away, you had all the hopes for him, that he'll become this and he'll become that. And every parent has hopes. So because you have lost, what have you lost? You have lost your hope, therefore you grieve. That my son is going to become a great violinist, or a great musician, or a great physician, great artist, great anything, you name it. And because he's gone, he can't become that. So you start grieving. So you are grieving over an idea which is in your mind, to which you are not at all entitled. For that person is an entity unto himself, if he was alive or even not alive. So grief, to repeat again, is because of one's selfishness. Grief, to repeat again, is not because of genuine love, not true love, but possessive love. And how can you really how can you call something love when it is filled with possession? I would not grieve if the closest one to me would pass away. The reason would be this: that I love my wife, I love my son, I love this one or that one. And because I love selflessly, I shall not grieve, for I would know that this is a step which is necessary for that particular person, for my son or daughter or whatever, that this step is necessary, that the stage has come where the subtle body or soul is now ready for evaluating itself. And in the divine scheme of things, you can never overstay. You can't be a burden to your host. The time for the guest has come to depart. So, and it is all but just a departure. Just a departure from one place to the other. I will depart America and go to South Africa. Finish. Are you going to grieve about it? No. No. Or if I should depart from here to go to another plane of existence, should you grieve about it? No. There should be no such thing as grief. Grief is a projection of one's own mind. Grief is because of an imbalance of one's own mind. There can be concern. That is something different. But in all grief, there is always an if, the impossible if. If he had to live, then this would have been that. If he had to spend 10 more years, then this could have been that. Oh, my son passed away, and in my old age, I have no one to look after me. You see, the grief is not because you've lost the person. The grief is because of the loss to yourself. You have lost yourself. Therefore, the proper attitude in such circumstances should be, we have come on a visit. And the person has not expired, the visit has expired. Do you see? We have come on a visit. I have come on a visit to America, but I have not expired, but my visit has expired. That's right. And I'll be visiting somewhere else. And there, the visit will expire too, to go on another visit. For the soul of man is immortal. It is eternal. As far as the spirit is concerned, the mind and body are of no importance whatsoever. Because we attach so much importance to it, fallaciously, that is why, that is also another cause of grief. We grieve over things that are mortal. We grieve over things that are mortal. There's a lovely Sanskrit prayer which says, Mrityoma amritam gamaya. Lead me from mortality to immortality. And death is one of the stages that we have to go through. Many saints have said that I die 1,000 times every day. And doctors will prove that to you also, that all of us die so many times every day. In between two heartbeats, there's a gap. That gap is death. That split-second gap is death. Hmm? So, passing from one body into another body is the same thing in a different form. There is that gap that is required. The heart needs that rest from one beat to the next. So the soul of man also needs that rest and period of evaluation. So we should be happy. And that is why we pray, may his soul rest in peace. We pray that, don't we? We don't need to, because it is going to a greater peace, for sure. When you say, may his soul rest in peace, you are referring to yourself, that let my soul be in peace. That's what you really mean. Perhaps not consciously, but subconsciously, that is what you mean. For what do you know about the other soul? And what kind of peace that soul is going to? So, may, it's an assumption. You assume, wishful thinking. But in truth, it goes to greater peace. When this body has to be discarded within the certain divine plan, it has to be discarded. And there's nothing to feel sorrowful about. Nothing at all. And perhaps that could be the very lesson that you might need for your evolution. The loss of a loved one could be that lesson you need. How do you know that in past lifetimes you have not caused so much sorrow to others? You say you love your child very much, young child, growing child, and the child is snatched away from you. You call it snatched away. You call it snatched away because you think it is your possession, or taken away because you think it is your possession. When that little child, rather you'd say when the little child leaves us, when the child leaves us and we feel sorrowful because of the own patternings of our own little minds, could be a period of learning. Could be a period of learning to aid our own evolution. For us also to know what it feels like, what that agony is like. And by going through that agony, you are cleansing yourself. So everything in this world has its time and has its place. There, everything functions in perfect precision. Grieve for the living. Yes, grieve for the living. Grieve at the misery the living are going through. Feel sorrowful for them. And then say, how can I help the living to lessen their burden, to lessen their sorrows? Grieve for the living, but never for the dead. Yes, it's very simple, really. It is a matter of